some heads-up driving from below on back. We got a spinner. Kyle Larson.
No. Larson hits Simpson.
I think Stingray Raw may have been caught up in that as well.
It is game over for Larson, and that is the double. Done and dusted.
On the restart, and I was really close to Takuma in front of me, and got kind of aero tight behind him, and as I peeked left, the nose just grabbed and I spun. So yeah, hate that I caused that crash, hate that others got.
Kyle Larson's attempt to conquer the ultimate racing feat, the Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600 on the same day, turned into an absolute disaster. But this wasn't just a bad day at the track. What unfolded revealed the near impossible nature of the double. And by the end of it, Larson had one brutal message: it might not be worth it. Let's unpack exactly what went down, and why this could be the last time Larson ever attempts such a wild doubleheader again. The double is more than a race day stunt. It's a physical and mental endurance marathon, racing 1,100 miles across 2 states in 2 of the most grueling motorsport events in one day. That's no joke. Only one driver has ever completed all 1,100 miles, Tony Stewart back in 2002/2001. Since then, others have tried, but none have truly conquered it. For Larson, this was his second attempt, and going in, he looked ready. Backed by Aero McLaren Racing and Hendrick Motorsports, Larson had the best equipment and team you could ask for, but even the best prep can't beat bad luck. And weather. Rain delayed the 2025 Indy 500 by an hour, throwing Larson's tight schedule into chaos. That 1-hour setback meant every moment became a race against time. Even if everything went perfectly, it would have been almost impossible to complete both events, and things didn't go perfectly. At Indy, Larson started 21st and began making steady progress. By lap 91, he climbed to 18th, but that's when disaster struck. Coming into turn 2, he downshifted too early, lost control, and spun out, bringing out the 5th caution of the day and ending his race. He was out, and he didn't even have time to process it. On lap 42, he brushed the wall. Then later in the race, Daniel Suarez collided into him, sending him spinning across the track. That crash knocked him out of the race for good.
This time,
There goes Kyle Larson, sliding off the corner. First caution of the night.
Straight, keep it straight.
Had the anxious moment when we came back from a commercial break, and
Get
this
fired up. You want to come?
His final position, 37th. 2 DNFs in one day, 595 total miles completed out of a possible 1,100. When asked afterward, Larson didn't hold back. The double is just a tough undertaking, he told NBC Sports. Even if I didn't wreck at Indy, I don't think I would have made it here on time, and probably would have had to end that race short anyways. So I don't really think it's worth it. That's a pretty brutal assessment from someone who just put months of preparation into this attempt, and you could see the exhaustion and frustration all over him. To be fair, Larson's comments came right after the races when emotions were still raw. He even admitted, "It's so fresh right now, I don't really have a good answer for you." But that frustration didn't seem to fade. When asked again at the Indy 500 banquet, he reiterated the same doubts. The timing windows, the weather unpredictability, the logistics, it's just too much. Still, Larson hasn't completely ruled out a return to the Indy 500. I don't really think it's worth it, but I would love to run the Indy 500 again. Just doing the double I think is just logistically too tough, he said. It's clear the allure of Indy still burns inside him, but the double, that might be done for good. Behind the scenes, the logistical challenge of the double is staggering. Coordinating 2 race teams, 2 sets of equipment, a cross-country flight, and backup plans for weather, every variable has to line up perfectly. And if even one thing goes wrong, like rain in Indianapolis, everything falls apart. Larson's 2024 attempt had already been marred by a similar issue. Rain derailed his chances then too, forcing him to abandon the Coke 600 entirely. So after 2 years of frustration, it's no surprise he's questioning if it's even worth it. But it's not just about logistics. The toll on the driver is real. The mental stress of jumping from one car to another, the physical wear from hours of high-G racing, and the emotional roller coaster of wins and crashes, it's brutal. Larson was clearly spent by the end of Sunday, and who could blame him? What's perhaps most shocking is how quickly his fortunes turned. From leading laps at Charlotte to hitting the wall then getting caught in a crash, it all unraveled in a flash. And that's racing. But when you stack two massive races back to back, the margin for error becomes razor thin. Fans were split. Some praised Larson for even attempting the double, a nod to old-school grit and ambition. Others questioned whether it was worth the risk, especially when the outcome is so dependent on factors beyond his control. And then Arrow McLaren and Hendrick Motorsports poured resources into this. Sponsors banked on big-time exposure. There's a lot riding on this beyond personal ambition. In the end, Larson gave it everything. He didn't hold back. He raced hard, took risks, and tried to etch his name into motorsport history. And even though he fell short, no one can say he didn't go for it. But the truth is, the double is just an insanely difficult challenge, even for a driver as talented as Kyle Larson. And now, after two crushing setbacks, he's left questioning if it's worth trying again. Some believe Larson could be the driver who eventually gets it right. They say if weather had been a factor, if the car hadn't spun at Indy, if the crash at Charlotte hadn't happened, he would have pulled it off. But racing doesn't deal in ifs. It's about execution, and sometimes fate just doesn't cooperate. In the coming months, all eyes will be on Larson to see how he bounces back. Will he use this as fuel for the rest of the NASCAR season, or will this experience cast a longer shadow over his ambitions? What this saga does confirm is the sheer unpredictability and intensity of motorsport. The double isn't just a challenge, it's a gauntlet thrown at the feet of the best racers alive. Few dare to take it on, even fewer come close to mastering it. And while Larson's results may not have made history in terms of wins, they did cement something else: his resilience, his commitment, and his willingness to chase greatness, even if it means falling short. Because sometimes, even the best drivers hit a wall. And sometimes, chasing history comes at a brutal cost. Think Larson should give the double one more shot or hang it up for good? Let us know in the comments below. And if you love exclusive insights from inside the racing world, turn on notifications so you never miss a lap.